let's be more diligent with our accounts. 401ks are a great vehicle, but understand how you use them. Just like anything else, all cars are great vehicles. Most cars are great vehicles, but depending how you drive them, right? if Hey, and we're back here with the channel, and I wanted to share a quick story with you, and hopefully it's a more of an alarming and also a reminder that if you're not saving for your retirement, you're not alone. I was reading an article today, and apparently one out of four millennials are not saving for retirement, and if they are, they're not saving enough. Now, this is not new news, because I am one of those that the only retirement accounts that I had are my 401k and some others that I had at my other jobs. But it wasn't that I was actively opening up my IRAs or Roth IRAs. And I'm not going to be getting into the type of accounts you can open here. That'll be another video. But I really want to just share a story for me, a personal story, where today, to be honest, this book so far, I'm halfway through it, has opened up a lot of curiosity, and also given me a lot of insight on the small things and details that we have in our lives that we forget about and we kind of don't really pay attention to. For example, our 401ks, right? For those of you that have 401ks, great. Those of you that maybe like me, I'm no longer my employer, so I have a 401k. I left it there. I didn't really think much of it. They told me I could leave it there, and I didn't really. My other employer after that didn't offer a 401k, so I just left it there. So, long story short, reading the book, I started learning about how the 401k was not meant for the employees, and on top of the large fees that they charge within these funds, some of these funds are not really good funds. They're just there for the companies to have that, I would say, benefit for the employees, but they're not really working for your best interest, because they're collecting fees on these funds regardless whether you do good or you don't. And that is something that was eye-opening, because me being in the financial industry, working in the financial industry for a couple of years, I forgot about those things. I forgot about how I was kind of incentivized to open up certain funds, whether or not they were performing at a certain level. It was just to have their money come to our accounts and fund, obviously, our portfolios. So it's now, I'm not saying that all financial advisors are going to be not at your best interest. They have good hearts. A lot of us, I was one of them. You have good intentions, but when you're working with a system that's in place and you try to deviate from that system, it doesn't work. And those powers at B, they either put you in your place or you get kicked out the door. Example. So going back to my story, I want us to watch this video and really understand that you have to be more managing or actively managing your 401ks and then retirement plans you have. If you're like me, a millennial, we never really educated or thought about or even talked about 401ks in my household. My mom didn't have 401k, my dad didn't either. They normally work labor jobs. Some of them didn't have benefits, or if they did, they had pensions, and they're relied on those pensions once they retired. And they just had a fixed amount depending on the years they worked. And as we know now, a lot of these jobs are being taken away. We don't have the pensions like before. Most of the jobs now are offering you insurance and 401k. Now, the problem with the 401k is you're the one, more active in it, and it's supposed to be beneficial for us because you have more freedom to choose what you want to do with that, with those funds. But the trick is that for the most part, we think that the employer is looking out for us. So we just put our money in there, before taxes, It's sitting in that account. Hopefully, when I retire, I'm gonna have a massive amount of money that I can retire comfortably on. Right. That is what I was under the impression. Right. I always thought the money managers, these financial gurus, they're gonna go and work this money for me, and I'm gonna have my retirement income, if not millions of dollars away, 30 years from now. That was my impression. After reading the book, he states, Tony Robbins, you have to go into your active 401k, go onto your websites, go onto whatever it is that you are enrolled in. Most companies have the company websites or the companies that are brokering these 401ks. Um, Fidelity, JP Morgan, Vanguard, all these companies that are brokering these 401ks, you can go in there and actively log in, and you can actually see how much you have, how much you're vested in, how much your company is invested in. So you can tell how much you have and how your accounts are performing. Right. My disarray was that one of my previous 401ks had a 1% return in the last 6 months. Right, 1%. Now that I'm learning about your fund performance and expenses and understanding where my money is going, that is not a good thing. You think about it. Right now you go to the bank and you give them money. You tell them, "Hey, here's my money," and they say, "I'm going to give you 1%." You're gonna be mad. Like, "What? That's nothing. Why would I want to put my money in that account?" Especially if you're growing it for a long term. And I'm pretty sure I didn't even do the numbers. My money at 1% for the next 10 years is not going to grow by any means, of what it should be growing in an average, well-performing fund. And that is when I realized that it's time for me to roll it over. It's time for me to put out that money, put it somewhere where it's working better for me. And remember, you have the choice to roll over your 401ks without being taxed, without being penalized. Again, this is not financial advice. You want to consult to your 401ks, but under the rollover plans, you can roll over from one institution to another institution within a certain amount of days. I believe it is 60 days, and you won't be penalized. And now it's a lot easier now. Sometimes, like one of the ones that I was doing, they were gonna write a check to the new institution directly, so it avoids me from losing it or trying to pay it to myself and causing a whole bunch of tax alarms that I don't want to. But you have the choice to manage your own funds. And one thing I've learned that, there we kind of lose sight, and this is one of the personal reasons, we kind of lose sight of our own lives when we're chasing and chasing and chasing. You're chasing for the next big raise. You're chasing for the next promotion. You're chasing for more money, different careers. You're paying your bills. You're surviving, and you forget that nobody's gonna take care of you, right? This is why we call it personal finances. You have to educate yourself and figure out. And if you can't educate yourself, pay for someone to educate you. And there's a lot of individuals that can, or pick up a book, watch YouTube videos, learn a couple of financial courses, but really educate yourself. And again, I would recommend Money Masters the Game by Tony Robbins. So far, I love Rich Dad Poor Dad, but this book's a little more practical, and it kind of gives you more of the insights in what you have to really be careful for in your everyday life, what the average American really has, and how these things affect us in the long run. Right now, let's think about it. If I wouldn't have gone into my accounts and I wouldn't have looked at my performances and I wouldn't have understood what I was looking at, the money I would have thought that it would have been there 10 years from now. Imagine my disarray and my disbelief that I thought my 401k was going to take care of me and it's my retirement plan and I should be good. No. Another reason why we should use a 401k just as one vehicle of retirement. You want to have your 401k if you have it, if your company offers it, go ahead and invest in it. If they match your contributions, great. If they don't, you can always go for a 401k Roth or Roth IRA and still use extra vehicles that are tax advantage for you, so your money can grow faster. At the end of the day, the point I'm trying to come across is don't think that your employer has your best interest. And although they offer these benefits of 401ks and retirement plans, it's essentially up to you to understand where your money is going and how it's being managed. And you have to kind of do your due diligence on most of the things. Sometimes in life, it's a lot of things that we forget to take care of ourselves. We have self love, self help, all these things is great. But what I notice is, especially now with the pandemic, some of the baby boomers that I've known and grown, and my parents, to be honest, are being hardly affected because they figured that after 30 years of working, after all the money they worked hard for, the money they put into the 401ks, their pensions, they figured that this money would be able to handle their lifestyle after they retired. And for the most part, they miscalculated, right? They undervalue how much they were putting away and how much they actually thought they were going to have because of some of these 401ks, the fees and the performances, and how much of just the fees are taken away from your performance rates, that you're not really making that much of the year for that money to grow at a progressive amount of money within its time sequence, right? So if I can sit here today and really want to hopefully add value to anybody that's watching this, is if you're young and you're just starting out, if you have a 401k, understand where the money's going, do your research, make your online account, be active in it, see where the money's going. At the same time, look at your returns, look at the fees you're paying. If you're paying highly exorbitant fees, anything I think over 1% for a retirement account in fees, it's a high amount because of the fact that it's just being passively managed. So a lot of the mutual funds are different, but if you're paying over 2-3% in fees, then you want to see if you can change your funds through your employer. Maybe they can change the broker if you have that type of influence. If not, again, like I said, don't solely rely on that. Understand that the 401k is not what we thought it was. It's not what we think it is. Don't get me wrong. There are some great plans out there. There's some great the individuals that are working for this company are not. I'm not saying they're bad individuals. It's just a system in place is there, and sometimes you're getting the short end of the stick. Yes, you're putting away your money for the future, but not always is it growing to what you think it is. And remember, at the end of these 30 years or 20 years, whatever it is you're trying to retire, you have to pay taxes on the money because the 401k is money before tax, right? It's not taxed now, but they'll tax you later. So we don't know how much they're going to tax us, depending on your rates, depending on what time. So maybe most of that money that's in there, half of it is probably actually yours. So at the same time, understand that. But the point across, I'm trying to come through is that 401ks are there for us, right? But don't let the 401k rule you or control you. You want to control it. See how you can manage it. If you can roll it over, if you're not really happy with it, if you left an employer, if you have no access to certain funds and you're not really managing things, roll it over to a brokerage firm that gives you access to these accounts. A typical IRA, your bank offers you IRAs, and just be more active in it. Please do your due diligence. You have to be active in your personal finances. No one else is going to do it for you. I know we get busy and we get caught up with life and we kind of just forget and we like, well, I don't talk about it. It's going to take care of itself. It won't. It won't. We have the technology nowadays, the knowledge to know what is there. Before, I think a lot of individuals were in the dark. They didn't know what's really happening, so they really have a choice. Now with internet and the whole the way the world works, everything is so more out in the open. We know what's going on, where the money's going, how it's being allocated, what's happening to your money. And if you're not happy with it, you can manage it and you can put it somewhere else. I'm not saying that you're going to go ahead and start picking stocks, but you can put it into another funds that are gonna be performing for you at a better rate, and you have so many people that are willing to help, right? A lot of advisors in different companies as well will give you a better option. But remember, top things to look for: the fees and what are you being invested in, right? I mean, like one of my 401ks too, half of the 401k balance was in the company stock. And the whole dangerous thing with that is that if tomorrow that company, something crazy comes out, as we see all the time, the company has some type of racist comments, the CEO says something racist, the company stock drops 50%, my balance drops 50%. You're putting too much in one basket, as they say, right? So you want to be more diversified, but that's what it's in there without me knowing. If I didn't look into, if I didn't go in there and kind of research and figure out what was going on with my monies, I wouldn't be able to see that. So let's go in there and let's be more diligent with our accounts. 401ks are a great vehicle, but understand how you use them. Just like anything else, all cars are great vehicles. Most cars are great vehicles, but depending how you drive them, right? If you drive them at 100 miles per hour every single day, you go through bumps and you go through holes and potholes. It might not last you a long time. But if you take care of your vehicles, you understand what your maintenance, and you understand where it's going and how to take care of it. Same thing with the 401ks. If you can, for the most part, try to see if you can get a Roth 401k, which is after taxes. This way you don't have to worry about your taxes at a later date. But if you have no options, still not a bad idea. It's taxed, obviously tax advantage. You don't pay taxes on this money, and also your company gets to match what you're investing. So you get some type of incentive there. But don't forget to understand where your money's going. If these funds are even worth it, if the fees are exorbitant, mutual funds that are charging you 2-3%, and on top of that, all these other type of fees, you gotta understand what's happening to those accounts. Please, reminder from my personal experience, go into your 401ks today, log into your accounts, find out what's going on with your 401ks. If your 401ks are not performing to what they should be, or they're invested in certain accounts or certain future date retirement accounts, please do your due diligence.